All right, y'all, we are live. And Mr. Chairman, we have established that there is a quorum. All 7 of you are on this virtual broadcast, and I will turn the meeting over to you now.
Okay, I'll call this Georgetown County Council virtual meeting to order on here March the 24th. The first item we have is the approval of the Georgetown County Emergency Ordinance number 20-15. I will read it quickly and then I'll open the floor for a motion on this ordinance. Whereas on March 13th, 2020, Governor Henry McMaster issued Executive Order number 2020-08 related to the 2019 novel coronavirus and declared that a state of emergency exists in South Carolina. And whereas on March 15th, 2020, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued guidance recommending the suspension of large events and mass gatherings that consist of 50 people or more in order to slow the spread of COVID-19. And whereas on March 16th, 2020, Georgetown County Council via ordinance declared a state of emergency in Georgetown County in order to combat the community spread of COVID-19. And whereas while it's imperative for Georgetown County government to continue to operate during the state of emergency, the county must lead by example in taking steps to minimize the need for large gatherings in order to protect public health and safety of its citizens and the health and public safety of county staff and members of council. And whereas the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, South Carolina Code of Laws 30-4-10, the Act defines a meeting as the convening of a quorum of the constituent membership of a public body, whether corporal or by means of electronic equipment, to discuss or act upon a matter over which the public body has supervision, control, jurisdiction, or advisory power. And whereas South Carolina law provides that counties may enact emergency ordinances to meet public emergencies affecting life, health, safety, or the property of the people upon a single reading, provided such an ordinance does not levy taxes, grant, renew, or extend a franchise, or impose or change a service rate upon the affirmative vote of at least 2/3 of the county council attending, and provided that such emergency ordinance shall expire automatically on the 61st day following its enactment. And whereas it is hereby determined that a public emergency affecting life, health, and safety does exist, and therefore it is appropriate and necessary to suspend certain local provisions of the Georgetown County Rules of Procedure Ordinance 99-30 in order to hold council meetings electronically during the state of emergency to ensure public services remain and the business of Georgetown County is conducted speedily and lawfully while protecting its citizens, staff, and officials from exposure to COVID-19. Now, therefore, be it hereby ordained and ordered in this meeting of Georgetown County Council the following. 1, Georgetown County Council hereby reaffirms and ratifies Emergency Ordinance 20-14 dated March 16th, 2020. 2, Georgetown County Council is hereby authorized to conduct public meetings exclusively in electronic form using telephonic or other electronic media and applications or any combination of these. 3, any member of council may cast a vote via voice or hand by the electronic means outlined in Section 1, so long as the vote is able to be heard or seen by attendees. 4, minutes shall be taken and meeting recorded as if an in-person meeting were being held. 5, electronic executive sessions are permitted in accordance with the provisions of the Act, and the reason for going into any executive session in conformance with Section 30-4-70 of the Act shall be announced. 6, with respect to any electronic meeting, the public comment period provided for in Ordinance 99-30 is temporarily suspended. Members of the public may submit written public comments, which shall be distributed to members of council before and after the meeting, dependent upon when they are received. 7, during the period of effectiveness of this ordinance, any other provision of the Georgetown County Rules of Procedure Ordinance 99-30 that conflicts with the provisions hereof is temporarily suspended and shall be superseded hereby. 8, allow the temporary location of trucks, trailers, campers, food trucks, and other similar removable personal property in any area of Georgetown County without regard to zoning classification for the temporary distribution of food, essential items, essential services, and emergency services to emergency workers, essential workforce personnel, and families and/or children in need due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so long as these services and products are provided free of charge and do not violate any other regulation from the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. This provision expires May 23rd, 2020. 9, the provisions hereof shall be effective upon a single hearing and 2/3 approval vote by Georgetown County Council and shall expire on May 23rd, 2020, unless sooner terminated by Georgetown County Council. Done as an emergency ordinance and approved at a meeting duly assembled by no less than an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the members of Georgetown County Council attending this 24th day of March 2020. I'll entertain a motion on this ordinance.
I'll make a motion. This is Raymond. I make a motion that we accept.
Motion to accept to approve the ordinance number 20-15 by Mr. Newton. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, Lily Jean, I'll second that motion.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, either raise your hand or say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Lily Johnson, aye.
I think we need to do it by roll call.
Well, if there were none opposed, I think we're fine.
Okay. Any opposed? The emergency ordinance 20-15 is approved. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Oh, so next I'll ask for the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Goggins to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second, Everett Carolina.
Second by Mr. Carolina. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I see a majority. Okay, so by virtue of approving the agenda, the consent agenda is approved. And that's procurement number 19-068, procurement number 19-072, bid number 19-071, and resolution number 20-06 to declare April 2020 as Fair Housing Month in Georgetown County. All right, next is reports to council. Mr. Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, this is one report tonight. It is on the new administrator's contract. We are seeking your approval of that contract tonight with one vote. The beginning term of the contract is going to be March 30th, which is next Monday. And I will briefly go over the terms in the contract. And I'll go ahead and tell you it's pretty standard language for an administrator contract found in South Carolina. So the term is for 36 months. And the contract would automatically renew every year after that if either party doesn't provide 90 days notice for not renewing before the end of the 36-month term. There is a provision for termination for cause. There is a provision for termination without cause. And there is a provision for the resignation of the administrator, which are all fairly standard, and they provide different avenues to compensation and severance packages and things like that. If there is, I will note that if there is a removal without cause, there is a 6-month severance package that goes along with that. The duties are going to be as prescribed in South Carolina Code of Laws 4-9-630. That is standard across the state. The compensation is $155,000 a year. There also is a temporary housing expense. There's been difficulty in finding permanent housing during this time for her. So we are offering temporary housing expenses for 3 months at $1,200 a month. There's also a one-time $2,000 moving expense and standard insurance that all county employees have, 15 days of vacation leave, 60 days of sick leave. There's also a $750 automobile allowance, standard retirement. The hours of work are on call 24 hours, 7 days a week, standard. And also a cell phone will be provided if needed. Other than that, the other terms are fairly standard contractual terms. And there is also provision to maintain a primary residence within the statutory boundaries of Georgetown County within 180 days after the effective date of the contract. So other than that, I can answer any questions if you have any, but Miss Christian did come by here last week really briefly, and she is diligently looking for a house, and we'll be here on March 30th. So we're looking forward to it.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from council members? Or
I'm just moving against.
You hear that? I'm sorry, Ms. Charlton, it broke up. I didn't hear you.
What was it about?
If you're I can't hear you, but I think you're asking about moving expenses. That was a one-time $2,000 moving expense.
any other questions from council? If not, I'll open the floor for a motion on the county administrator contract.
John, this is Raymond. I make a motion that we accept the contract as written.
Motion by Mr. Newton. Is there a second?
Second,
Lily Jean, I'll second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 The contract is accepted. I believe that.
There we go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was asking a question, Mr. Chairman, what that moving expense, I missed that.
It's a one-time $2,000 moving expense.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are any other matters to come before this council? In that case, I'm asking for a motion to end the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Motion by Mr. Coggins. Is there a second?
Second. This is Louis Moran, second.
Second by Mr. Matt. This meeting is adjourned.